Hey, this is Rocket Brain Surgeon. Today we're looking at the SU-122-44. We're following Max around on Westfield. This is a Tier 7 Russian tank destroyer. The first thing that you're going to notice is that Max has apparently fail-platooned. He's platooned with two Tier 8s. However, those are both preferential matchmaking tanks. One's a Type 59, the other is an IS-6. So all three of these tanks can see Tier 9 as their highest tier, so it all works out. One of the things that I love about the SU-122-44 is the versatility of the tank. So this tank has really aged well. If you don't have one of these, pick it up the next time it's on sale. It's quite good. Anyway, the tank has wonderful mobility, has great camouflage, it has great alpha. 390 alpha is just wonderful. And despite the terrible gun handling, it is also pretty good at snapshotting as well. It is bizarrely good. I like this replay because he's showing off the assault gun style where you take a tank destroyer and you use that high alpha and that high damage per minute to brawl at close range. All of the maps that are getting redesigned are becoming brawling maps, so it's good to acquaint yourself with this type of gameplay, and the 122-44 is really great at it. You can see that the AMX 5100 bounced a shot off of the mantlet of the SU. The mantlet is weirdly impenetrable as well, and with that wonderful slope, when you're cresting the hill like Max is, the angle is typically going to be auto bounce, giving it a surprising level of protection for a tank destroyer. The thing to note about his playstyle is how, I don't know if you want to call it averse to aiming that he is, but he definitely does not spend a lot of time aiming, and there's a lot of sound logic behind it. So a while ago I found a variable and I said, hey, this is something, it's called impulse, and I think this is what is happening with the aiming system. Now, I got it wrong in the actual implementation, but the underlying idea of what I was trying to describe is still correct. The majority of your shots are going to go straight no matter what. Your reticle can be huge. It can be the size of the moon, and say 60% or so of your shots are going straight. Crab Eatoff came along and he said that it can all be explained mathematically. Later on, Wargaming adjusted what's called the sigma, basically how many shots are going to go straight and what the accuracy system is going to look like in a more detailed mathematical model, blah blah blah. Basically, Wargaming made all of the guns more accurate. So the SU on paper has really bad gun handling. It has a terrible aim time, it has terrible bloom, it has terrible accuracy, and as you can see, it just doesn't even matter. Max crests a hill, puts the cursor over the enemy tank, pulls the trigger, dead. This low amount of aim playstyle is typically favored by the better players, simply because you can throw so many more shots into the air that it just doesn't matter. If you miss half of them, it doesn't matter because you're firing over twice as much. So the aim time on the SU is 2.9 seconds. The listed aim time on any tank is the amount of time that it takes for the reticle to shrink a third of its size. That means it takes roughly 9 seconds, let's say 8 seconds with gun laying drive and crew skills, so 8 seconds to get to a fully closed reticle. However, the tank reloads in 7 seconds. So it's actually better just to keep chucking out poorly aimed shots rather than fully aiming, because you reduce your exposure time, which means you can live a lot more. You're harder to hit because you're just not sitting in the open for all that time. 8 seconds, I mean, wow, artillery can just annihilate you in that time, or an autoloader, so on and so on and so forth. And the rest of it is you just want to get a lot of shots in the air as quickly as possible. And sometimes that's going to happen where you hit the shot and it flies into a track, or you miss somebody really close if you have just taken 1 second or 2 seconds more to aim. That's going to happen sometimes, and there are going to be some RNG games where you miss a ton of shots. But overall, stick with the process, and it's going to work out for you in the long run. Max wrote up a incredibly long and very detailed guide on the SU-122-44. The link is in the comments. Go check it out. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.